Hi folks, I'm Vinod, a pre-sales architect at iTmethods, and welcome to episode 2 of Behind the Pipelines. And today we are tackling a question we get all the time from the customer. What is the smartest way to build a DevOps toolchain? Should you go all in on a single platform, or is it better to handpick best of the breed tools for each function and make them work together? There are multiple tools available. There are multiple vendors that are coming in DevOps space who are really innovating a lot of good things. So what is the answer for the question I mentioned earlier? So there is no one size fits all answer here. The right tool chain depends on a team's needs, goals, and priorities. At iTmethods, we support both the strategies, but in many cases, best of breed is the best path. And our job is to make those tools work together as one unified stack. So how do we do it? So today I'm highlighting one of our key partners, CircleCI. We have recently done some work with them, and they consistently stand out for teams who want a CI/CD engine that integrates deeply with the rest of the ecosystem. So we are seeing more teams introduce AI into the mix. Model training, inference, GPU orchestration, you name it, there are a lot of new buzzwords that are coming into it. And it's a shift, and it's adding more complexity. Everyone is trying to AI their pipeline. Does it sound familiar? So what is the challenge here? These tools aren't always built to work together natively. So you're dealing with incompatible licenses, brittle workflows, and integrations overhead that doesn't scale, right? That's exactly where iTmethods helps by building a secure, scalable tool chain using best-in-class tools that actually work together. So, every team is different. Some run GitHub, JFrog, and Terraform into the mix, and others use GitLab, Argo CD with CircleCI handling all the builds and deployments. And today we are going to walk through how CircleCI fits into one of these stacks, and how to get more out of it without the usual operational burden. I'm assuming that a lot of DevOps engineers are listening to this, but I just wanted to give an overview. CircleCI is a cloud-native CI/CD platform built for flexibility. So it supports containers, VMs, and serverless workloads, and integrates seamlessly with GitHub, GitLab, and Bitbucket, or any other SCM for that matter. You get fast feedback on every commit, language agnostic support, so you can throw any language at it, and you have full control over the environments. If AI is in your roadmap, CircleCI can scale with you without forcing a workflow overhaul. So let's jump to the demo part. Let's look at a live example. I've got a GitHub repository connected with CircleCI and some of the best of the pre-tools that we have used in this pipeline. So I have CircleCI, where I have an organization called iTmethods. So I have this instance stand up. I have connected my GitHub repository and pipeline. So what I'm trying to show here is, this is the setup I have introduced. I've selected best of the breed tools in each domain. For example, GitHub is very famous in source code management tool, where you can store all your repository data. Your repository data contains application source codes and a lot of things. And it is directly connected to CircleCI with integrations. There are a lot of integrations available. That's why, as I mentioned before, CircleCI integrates with almost every SCM tool that is available in the market. So with every commit in GitHub repository, every change, every PR, your CircleCI listens to it and triggers the events. So in this pipeline, CircleCI acts as an automation layer, which takes care of all the deployments. So you can also do build, test, and connect multiple tools, and then you can execute to deploy a package or ship the application to the customer. So if you see, I have selected SonarQube. SonarQube is nothing but a code scanning for vulnerabilities, bugs, code smells, and a lot of other things. It also has advanced SAST and SCA features now recently introduced. So that's again a value add. So that's one of the tool I've integrated into the pipeline. And you have Snyk scan. It's more of advanced SAST, SCA related. It makes sure that your code is vulnerable free. So that level of visibility you can see into it. And I also have an S3 connected, so it shows like it's a cloud deployed application. So I'm shipping the application and deploying it to the S3 bucket where the object storage is. And finally, as an optional step, you can also have a Slack notification. Without notification, pipelines are useless, right? Just so yeah, you have multiple things. You can also hook on Datadog, which is a monitoring and logging tool. So you can definitely get a lot of observability for your application. So let me quickly show how my pipeline looks at it. So I have a overview. So there is some pipeline defined, but quickly I'll show you. This is my pipeline, and you see I have some stages available on my pipeline, like build and test stage, which is basically building the application and testing it. So I have a simple Python app built for demo purposes. So let me switch screens and show you how repository looks like. So as I mentioned earlier, in the GitHub repository, you have a sample Python app. It's app.py. It's simple Python application that runs whenever it's executed. So what actually happens is you have a requirements.txt file and also other files used for this. The way CircleCI config works is you should have a .circleci folder created within your repository, and under that you will have a config.yaml file. This is your CircleCI config file that will define what your pipeline looks like. So you have obviously a standard version 2.0, and you have ops, and I have to mention this. Ops are kind of a reusable config box. Think of it like a mini plugins for a pipeline. So if you notice on the picture I showed you, there are multiple tools that are being connected, and ops are something which is going to make your life much easier, because CircleCI has ops for AWS, Docker, GitHub, Datadog, and Terraform, you name it. So one of the example is it saves so much time, keeps your pipelines clean. You don't have to code a lot of things. You just have to call the dog, and then it will take care of all the configurations onto it. So you just have to just pass the API token, and it will take care of all the process, right? So my first step is build and test, where I'm just installing the dependencies and running some unit tests on the Python app that is available on the GitHub repository. And then I am passing the code to the Snyk scan step, where, as I mentioned before, you already have an op, so you just have to run the command. If you notice, you don't have to install and do a lot of things, right? You just have to say like Snyk scan, that's one of the step, and then command what is the requirements file that is going to scan. As simple as it looks. And once that step is completed, you have sonar scan, which will go through SonarQube's dashboard and publish the results. And finally, you have deploy, where the application is packaged and deployed to the AWS S3 bucket. Right? Obviously, I have variables, a lot of things. And as an optional, you also can have Slack notifications sent when the pipeline is successful or failed. Right? So that's how this config file works. So whenever there is a commit happening on the GitHub repository, I can just do a dummy commit, and I'm going to publish the changes to the repository. I'm going to commit the changes and see how the pipeline is getting triggered. Let me give a refresh. And if you notice, so there is a commit happening in the GitHub repository. The moment the commit happens, CircleCI pipelines get triggered, because you have the config.yaml available on a CircleCI .CircleCI folder in your GitHub repository. It will take care of build, test, sonar scan, Snyk scan, and deploy a lot of things. So it will run for some time, but meantime, I can show you the results that was obtained from the previous run. So if you notice in Snyk, I have the results published for the previous run. So you have all the dependencies and all the issues that are identified during this run. Similarly, you have other things like sonar scan dashboard, which will have all the results published. So this is something which will give you power to run everything into a single workflow. And you see how simple it is. It just took me a few minutes to run this pipeline. With the ops are really helpful in this scenario. So one thing you also notice is like the pipeline is complete. You also have an inline AI pipeline editor into CircleCI. So if you notice, if there is some issues in your config file, you just have to ask the CircleCI bot and it will take care of all the building, debugging the code, or suggest you some optimization techniques. So that's how there is a pipeline, AI pipeline editor introduced into it. So yeah, which is really cool. I have my pipeline completed. So if you notice, the time of the builds gets faster every time. If you notice, it became 2 minutes first time, and duration is reduced because the Docker image, because CircleCI is cloud native, so Docker image has already cached the content, so it definitely reduces your timeline of your build every time you commit to it. Right, so this is definitely a value add for your teams, and if you're a DevOps engineer, you know how important is to complete the builds on time. So duration is very important in this scenario. So that's end-to-end visibility with zero context switching, right? So as we talked earlier, this pipeline doesn't include an AI model step, but the structure is ready for it, right? You can easily add a job to run inference on a new model weights, validate performance, or publish metrics to Datadog, as I showed you, right? And even train a model as a part of your deployment kit. CircleCI now supports GPU runners, dynamic scaling for exactly this kind of use case. So if you're rethinking your tool chain and are trying to bring more structure to your current stack, best of breed might be exactly what you need. And thanks for watching. I'm Vinod, and this is Behind the Pipeline. See you on the next one.